What if your emotions weren't holding you back, but pointing you towards the you that's been waiting to rise? Underneath the old beliefs, emotional wounds, and people pleasing, you know there's more. More joy, more peace, more of you ready to rise. It's time to step into and claim your penthouse potential. Welcome to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, your transformational coach, corporate wellness facilitator, and nervous system regulator. Let's rise.
Well, let's rise. And I just got to ask a question. Think about this. Have you ever tried to explain a part of yourself that wasn't broken, just misunderstood? Stop wearing these identities. Stop wearing these labels as identity. Ooh, let's go. Um, I'm tongue twisted. But as I listen to the intro to my show, I do talk about labels like people pleasing. Are you a people pleaser? So tonight's episode is all about why do we claim these labels as part of our identity as if we're broken? And maybe it's just that we're misunderstood. And because we're all supposed to be different in life and we're all supposed to be our own individual, unique, unapologetic, authentic self. But we want to attach labels so we can fit in these boxes when we are circles. Right? We are kind of circled. We're not boxed. So tonight's episode is Stop Wearing Labels as Identities. In this episode, I will open up about labels I once carried like a second skin. Whoops. I lost it. Second skin. Like a second skin, abandonment issues, PTSD, ADD, ADHD, emotional dysregulation, people pleasing, depression, and more. Each label felt like an explanation I owed to the world and to myself. I realized I was wearing labels as my identity or as a badge, like a badge of courage. Why did I need to do that? But what if nothing was ever broken in me? I will take you through how we collect these labels, sometimes for clarity, sometimes for survival, but how easily we shift from being reference points to becoming restrictions. These labels were never meant to define us or limit us or hold us back from who we are truly meant to become. This episode invites you to release the need to justify your feelings, stop over-explaining your existence, and step into the truth that you are not broken. You can change anything without explaining everything. And that's why this is important. Is I've spent and now I'm working with clients on not explaining why we are the way we are because oh well it's because my parents divorced when I was younger, so I have abandonment issues. I was raped and abused, so I have PTSD. I can't focus, and my brain sometimes is all over the place, and there might be, as a lot of people like to joke and laugh, a squirrel moment. And I too now go, oh, that was just a squirrel moment, because I feel like I've got to explain myself. And that is one of the biggest areas talking with my clients is sometimes I ask them, so what are your labels? And they're like, well, are you talking about like, yeah, I have ADHD or I have this or I have that or, I suffer from PTSD or I suffer from this or I'm a people pleaser because my mother was an alcoholic or I am this. And I'm like, so it sounds like we're making excuses for those labels or we're trying to validate why we are the way we are. Maybe it's just because we're unique. We're different. We're all not meant to be robots. I know we go to school and we go into community and we're all supposed to be like these robots where we're moving all at the same beat. We're supposed to learn the same way, but we don't. We are different people. We all have different strengths. That's why some people are doctors. Some people are coaches. Some people are psychiatrists. We all have a different skill set. And when we think about those things, do we claim them as our labels? No. We don't go around and validate. I'm a coach. I went and I've received all these certifications from. If someone asks, yes. If you go to my website, yes, you'll see my certifications, but I don't walk around as in telling that part of me. But if I'm in a meeting with someone and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, oh, that's just me. I have squirrel moments because I got ADHD. Why? Why am I doing that to justify it? Did they ask? No. So that is the one thing that I love working with clients on is why do we do that? Why do we feel that we need to check all these boxes to make ourselves feel worthy? See, the biggest thing working with my clients recently is unchecking these boxes and becoming authentic to who you are without having these boxes checked. Because recently, even talking with a client who, if you're a coach or if you're ever talking to somebody and you get that aha moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I was just talking to somebody else about this a week ago. Those moments are something that's a sign or a message for you. Because I recently have a newer client and we were on a conversation and she asked me halfway through, do you think I have ADHD? And I was like, why are you asking that? And she's like, because sometimes I feel like I'm all over the place. And I feel like I need to get, I just need to go get diagnosed. And I said, why do you feel the need to be diagnosed? And she said, because then it will help explain it to me. Why? And I'm like, well, and so it became such a coaching question. But then I remember that from for my own sake over a year ago, getting the label of ADHD from a psychiatrist. She's a psychiatrist. And then she looked at me and she goes, now, how is that going to change you? What are you going to change about yourself? Now that you're stepping into who you are authentically, how is this going to change you? Are you going to accept it as a label? And I was like, no, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything about who I am. It just gave me a badge of courage or another label. And how many people do that? They want all these labels or badges to prove or validate or, oh, I'm not broken. I'm just a people pleaser. See, I'm not broken. I was abandoned as a child. Or I'm not, but none of us are broken. That's the part that we gain these labels and these badges to give us the courage. But just living day to day is courageous in and of itself. We have enough labels going on if you have any health issues. Oh, I have allergies. Okay. That's a true label. I have some other health issues. It's not changing my identity. So why do we allow labels like, well, I suffer from PTSD to change your identity? Now, it might explain things if you're someone who fought in a war and you hit the floor when you hear a balloon pop. Well, you might get up and say, oh, yeah, I suffer from PTSD because of that. But do you really need to explain yourself? Do you? That's my question to you. Or do you think maybe you should have sympathy or non-judgment for other people? And it's that part of having these labels, and as I call them sometimes badges, is that it's like we want to have these things, these labels, so that when people do judge us, or we think they're judging us, because half the time people aren't judging us, we're judging ourselves because we think they're judging us. If you get what I'm saying, they're not really judging us. We think they're judging us because that's what we're telling ourselves. So if we have this label It's kind of like that, okay, well, if they just knew I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they would understand. Well, maybe they don't care to understand. Maybe it's you that feels that you need to prove something or validate it to other people. And when I work with clients now, it's all about finding their authentic self. And how to find their authentic self is by dropping the labels. Because when you are your authentic self, you you're not worried about those labels. You're not condemned by your own labels. Because think about this. I go around and I lead laughter yoga and I play with Legos with people and I do all these things. So is that because I have inner child trauma? No, it's because I enjoy bringing joy to people and also tapping into people's creativity side of that childhood experience where we were allowed to color outside the lines and build things with our imagination that can tell a story that maybe we didn't know was still within us. So that's what this is about, is when can we stop explaining our behaviors and just be authentic and just be, this is who I am. This is who I am today. That person from the back, from the past, from the back, behind me, the person behind me is behind me. They're not in me. They're not in front of me. They're not me. So that is what I wanted to come on here tonight and talk about. And what I've been working recently with my clients when I thought about this show is when, like I said, I had a recent client that asked me if I felt that they had ADHD. And I was like, well, why are you asking me? And I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, well, and what does this explain to you? What does it prove to you? Because I can tell you my form of ADHD might not be the same form of your ADHD and my children's ADHD. So it's just a label. It's not, let's put all these people in containers, or when it comes down to it, they're going to divide us up in groups. If you have this, stand in this line. If you have this, stand in this line. If you have these two things, stand in this line. But here's the point. Somehow we want to be in those lines. For what? What are they doing but maybe stopping us instead of getting into, wow, I really enjoy that when a bird flies by, I look at it and I can see its colors and I can just imagine what it would be like to be a bird flying in the air. And oh my gosh, or that beautiful blue. How could I have that beautiful blue? Well, if you're listening to me, you're not seeing I have blue in my hair. Depending on the angle, some people say it kind of looks a little purple, but I think it looks very blue. But that's the thing, like, how could I have that beautiful blue? Where could I get blue? I can't dye my skin blue. I could, but then I'd be an Oompa Loompa or whatever it was from the chocolate factory. But that's what I'm saying, like having those moments to experiment and just be your authentic self in life, because that's what dropping those labels and not finding reasons to prove you're broken. Instead, just be authentic because you're not broken. You're just misunderstood because you're not like John next door or Sally down the street. Insert your name. You are that person. So it is time for our break. But during the break, what I want you to do is think. Do you have any labels that you identify with? And when I mean labels, I mean ADHD, PTSD, abandonment issues, people pleasing. Is there any, and how is that working for you? And I am Sandee Byrd. I'm the host here on Emotional Elevator. You can find me at Sandee, SandeeByrd.com. You can even email me at sandy@sandeebird.com, sandeebirdcoach@gmail.com, and on all social media platforms at Sandee Byrd. So let's get to that break.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. If you've been enjoying my show, please give me a 5-star review on iTunes. Search Emotional Elevator, and I will be very grateful. And this will assist in getting this information out to those that need it most. And you can always share to a friend, family member, someone who you realize is riding the elevator of labels. So now, the first part of the show, I talked about how we're all unique. We're not supposed to have these labels to validate ourselves or to make excuses for ourselves or because we feel we're broken, because we're not broken. Sometimes we're misunderstood. And I also talked about how we are all unique and different. We've all been taught that we should all be almost on the same pages. But if we were all to learn exactly the same way in a school, then we would all be the same. But we're not. There's doctors out there, there's lawyers out there, there's coaches, and there's psychiatrists. And a coach and a psychiatrist can work together, but they're also very separate. And One of the main things about this is stepping into your authentic self and stepping away from the label. And now what I want you to do is to imagine you are on that emotional elevator and you've got your eyes shut and there is 12 floors. What floor would you pick? Would you pick the ADD floor? Maybe the abandonment floor? Maybe the trauma floor? And under the trauma is PTSD. Or would you pick floor number 6, authentic self? Floor number 7, different. Floor number 8, joy, happiness. So that's kind of what this is all about, is choosing to say, I don't identify with those labels. Now, I have tendencies of ADHD. I'm not ADHD. I have experienced abandonment on many different levels, but I'm not abandoned. I have felt broken in my life, but I'm not broken. I suffer from sometime hypervigilance. And what is hypervigilance is sometimes I just notice things around me that might make me feel uncomfortable or unsafe. And I know how to walk away or how to protect those around me. But I also know how to regulate my nervous system. I'm not unregulated. I know how to regulate my system, but I also know when I am unregulated. But when are you going to decide to be your authentic self and empower yourself? And stop allowing others or stop allowing yourself, because what I spoke first part of the show was stop taking on judgment that maybe you're judging yourself on, thinking others are judging you. Because we do that a lot where we're thinking, oh, I have to explain why I had a squirrel moment. I have to explain that because I don't want others to judge me because I was like, I don't have to explain it to anybody. And most of the time, it's what we're saying to ourselves, and they're not even thinking it. And that's one of the things that helps regulate your nervous system is when you realize that that talk that you have about, oh my gosh, they're looking at me, they're thinking this, they're doing this. It's you and what you're thinking, and oh, I have to explain myself when you really don't. And I'm about to run out of time, and I realized I haven't told you who Sandee Byrd is. I am an empowerment coach, a transformational and empowerment. Well, I'm more of an empowerment expert and transformational coach. I work with many individuals on realizing that these labels don't identify us. They don't give us who we are. They don't give us the sense of our identity. They're not who we are. We are not broken. We might have felt broken, but we're not broken. We might feel we're misunderstood, but we're not misunderstood. And I help my clients and I help other people and I help in the corporate world on how to identify differences and use them as power sources and not power struggles. So I work with my clients on regulating our nervous system because that is a big part of this as well, is how do you regulate your nervous system? Because if you have a regulated nervous system, none of these labels really matter anymore because you're happy within yourself. You're not feeling validated. You don't feel like you have to validate or explain who you are. You're comfortable within yourself. So that is who Sandee Byrd is. And Sandee Byrd has had many labels, and I've worked with clients and teaching them how to not be a people pleaser by not identifying with that. Oh, see, that's just who I am because I'm a people pleaser, because I grew up in a household, blah, 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 blah. No, that's not who you are. That's who you think you are. That's not who you are. Maybe you love people, and that's why you're the way you are. See, I used to grab onto those identities to what was broken in me, or what's wrong with me. Why do I love people so deep? Is it because I wasn't loved? I was abandoned? No, it's because who I am. It's who I am. And that's who you are. So if you realize I just like to be around my friends all the time because I do. Well, that's a valid reason to be around them. Doesn't have to have an identity to it. We don't have to have all these identities or these labels. I enjoy staring out at the window sometimes. I know if there's an important meeting that I am not going to sit to where I can look out the window. Why? Because I know that I have moments where I can see something so beautiful that it catches my attention. And I identify with it, but I don't take it on as my identity. And that's what labels are sometimes, is they become a reason to explain ourselves, to validate. And we don't have to validate, explain anything about ourselves. So that is what tonight's show has been all about, is, are you taking on labels as your identity and not growing from it and not raising yourself up, getting on that elevator and going, you know what? I'm going to stop being on this floor and I'm going to raise up to the joy floor. I'm going to raise up to the love floor. I'm going to raise up to my authentic self and live in this penthouse suite and be authentic. And if that means drinking out of the milk carton, then that's what I'm going to do. If that means staring out the window at all the passersby, that's what I'm going to do. And I don't need to have anything telling me why I'm doing that. Because I'm a circle. I don't want to fit in a box. I want to fit in a circle. So thank you for joining me tonight. I am Sandee Byrd, like I said, and you can reach out to me on any social media platform at Sandee Byrd with SANDEEBYRD. You can also email me if this spoke to me at sandy@sandeebyrd.com or sandeebyrdcoach@gmail.com. I would love to get some feedbacks, or if you want to reach out, conversation calls are free. If there's a label maybe you identify with that you're ready to let go of, that you realize that's not being authentic, that's proving, validating. So thank you for joining me tonight. And what labels are you identifying with that you're not broken?
Thank you for listening to the Emotional Elevator Show. Sandee returns Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, start elevating your emotions and stop riding the emotional elevator that is stopping you from living the life you deserve.